Hello and welcome to Cloudforest Vibes. My name's Bobby, and this is how I grow orchids and carnivorous plants. Hello and welcome to Cloudforest Vibes. So today I've got 6 plants out I desperately need to remount or do something with. So I've got different pieces of cork selected, they're already pre-made and everything else. I'm just going to go ahead and have a chat about the different plants I have out real quick, and then I'm going to get to it. I'm not going to show you a bunch of the different details. I'm probably going to show you bits and pieces of each one, but nothing too crazy. But that is my plan. So I've got my 2 new plants here from Tarzan. This is my Dendrobium Sennelier, and this is my Dendrobium Minemar species. I've got 2 plants here that I got from Andy's quite a while ago. This one I've had forever. I've had this was one of my first orchids, to be honest. I've had this for years, three some years. This guy right here is a Dendrobium Canaltum. Got this from Andy's a little over a year ago, and it has done relatively well. I did kill one growth direction of it, got it too wet. Really does not like to be wet in the wintertime, but needs to come off this stick. There's really nothing wrong with it. This is actually doing pretty well considering that the sticks don't do very good in my environment, but it does grow really dry. This is Orchids Colorado, and well, I bought it as that. It's also Gomezo Colorado. You might find it as that. One of those ones with a bunch of different names. It's an interesting plant. I've never gotten it to bloom. I do think it wants to grow cooler than I let it grow. It's lived in the tent now for a while, and since I moved it in the tent, it has done a lot better. It really did not like my tank. This growth here is like detaching from the mount. It's really not doing too good. Part of it rotted. I can see that this bulb isn't even attached anymore. So I need to get this off of here, and I need to get it onto a different piece of bark. This growth is actually pretty well attached, but it's got a bulb down here that's rotting, and I want to get rid of that. So I've had this for a while. It is time for a freshen up. It needs a bigger mount, and that's exactly what it's going to get. These 2 plants I got from Hauserman. This is Orientocephalus Eye, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with the way this is mounted. I just don't like the little slab look. I'd rather have this on a piece of cork. It is a neat little plant. I'm gonna have a fun time getting this off of here. It does have active roots. They are very fine, and I'm a little bit nervous about this, but we'll see how this goes. I want to get it onto a new piece of cork so it can establish and I can grow this thing on. Really excited about this little guy. And this is Phalaenopsis Mani Eye. This I got from Hauserman as well. It is also on the slab, and I just don't like the way it looks. Nothing wrong with it again, but I want to get that onto a nice piece of cork so it can live long term on that piece and I don't have to worry. Anyhow, I'm going to get right to it. I got to get myself squared away and situated so I can start working on these guys, and I will be back with you guys momentarily to dive into one of them. So I am absolutely going to take the easy way out, and I'm going to get started with the one that's in the pot because it will be by far the easiest to deal with. So that is that. I'm going to get this guy cleaned up. I'm going to pull a lot of these sheaths off. It's got a bunch of sheaths on it. Really need to go. I got to be careful. These canes are getting a bit desiccated. I definitely need to water this thing. But that is my little Dendrobium Minemar. The roots are pretty much gone, but that is to be expected. Yep. So definitely good timing. Let's get this on a new mount now so we can push on and be happy. So Dendrobium Minemar species. Alright, I believe I did that last one mostly off camera, so I'm going to try to do this better. This is the little Dendrobium Sennelier that we got, and we're going to do the exact same thing. This should be pretty easy going. Just going to pull this off. Gently try to coax this guy off of here. Sorry, I got interrupted with a phone call and I do not remember where I was. So anyhow, this plant is not very well attached at the front, but it does have a couple roots back here that are attached to this little cork tile, so I really want to be careful with those. I'm going to give this a little spritz because I find it easier to pull plants off when the roots are a little bit moist. I do not want to get this plant too wet. Oh, there you go, look at that. Boom! It's magic. So, anyhow, that's that. That's hilarious. So, that root's not going to make it. That's the Dendrobium Sennelier. Again, nice and easy, came right off. I will get that cleaned up and we will move on to the next one. So on to the little Gomezo Colorado. This little plant, like I said, I've had this for a while. It has done okay and it has also done bad, back and forth. It's one of those ones that I just cannot seem to get to bloom. Again, I think the temperatures play a huge role in that, but I'm hoping that maybe a freshen up of media and everything also really helps this. So here we go. Gosh, there's so much fishing line on this little plant. You could tell I had no idea what I was doing. Wow. That's hilarious. This is going to take a little bit of work, so I'm going to get this out of here and I will be back. I'll show you what this thing looks like all off the mount. So yeah, I'm getting this thing pulled off now, and I figured I'd come back in right now and show you guys. This thing has just completely tanked its entire root system. This mount is going, I mean, I guess I kept this little mount too moist for too long, and it is absolutely just gone. So that's what happened. This media stinks. There wasn't a whole lot of it, so whenever you have a miniature orchid, sometimes you have to keep in mind there's not a whole lot of media there, and if it is a moist grower or if it's in really humid conditions for too long, the media will go south really fast. And that's what's happened here. I think it was doing fine. I think if I would have done this last year, it would probably be okay today, but I waited an extra year almost, and because of that, now I have 3 little pieces that are going to have to recover, and I'm back to square one yet again with this plant. So do not let your mounts, do not let your pots, do not let anything go this long. So this is what I have left. I've got a little 2-bulb division, a little 3-bulb division, and another little 3-bulb division. There is hardly any roots left. This has 1 growing root. This has 2, oh my god, yeah, 2 little valid roots, and this has 2 little valid roots, 1/3 one. So they're going to go on a mount, and we're going to try to save this plant, but I do not know. We might not be able to. I might have to replace this if this does not work. So that is my Oncidium coloratum, or Gomezo Colorado, and yeah, let's see how this goes. So the next plant is going to be our Phalaenopsis Mani Eye. We're going to do the same thing. Cut them off. Oh, they staple their tags on, so we'll have to come back and pry that off later as well. So this is very well attached. So what we're going to do is we're going to give it a little squirt of water. Not everybody likes to do it this way, but I do. I think it makes it easier, especially when the roots are well attached, to coax them off. And if you have never seen my method before, I do use a razor blade to do this. I'll show you in just a moment. So I've got a sterilized razor blade here. Oop. And the way that I do this, let's start with this one. So this is dead. This will come right up, but this one has a dead tip on it. Let me see. Let's see if I can get in here nice and close for you guys. So I get up under the roots when they're, especially on a cork or a cedar slab like this, you can get right up under them. I kind of angle the blade down towards the wood itself, and that will help you free up any roots that are attached. Just get under there, and you can and you can just pry them a little bit, and they will come right off. Slide and pry. Just that easy. I'll show you on another one. Sorry, it's awkward filming from this angle. So get up underneath. Oh, that's not very attached. Here we go. Make sure I'm still on film. This one, from the edge, we pop it. See if we can slide the blade up in there. My phone just does not stop ringing. And then see how it just pops free, just like that. Very, very easy method to do. I use a razor blade a lot when I am detaching orchids from mounts. Give a little tug, see where they're attached, and again, they slide up easy. The toughest ones are the ones that wrap around the back. See, like this one? But this one's popped free a little bit already. Because we moistened it down, it made it a lot easier. Now the root is a little bit more limber, and you can slide up under there, and you can just pop it free. Just like that. This one too, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to get it from the edge. There's actually a gap right here. We'll utilize that. So we'll go down towards the edge, and we'll try to pop it free. And look at that, the whole root just lifts right off. Super, super easy. We'll tug at this plant. I don't think there's much left holding it on. Nope, nothing living. And that is that. Nice and easy. That is the best way, in my opinion, to get an orchid off of a slab or even a cork mount. You just have to be a little bit more careful. I almost always use a razor blade when they're well attached. So now that we've got our plant detached from the mount, we're going to pull off this little bit of moss. Phalaenopsis Mani Eye, I really should have included this in my little talk about resting orchids the other day. This is a really interesting species. It comes from areas that are actually pretty dry. It acts kind of like an arangus or something like that, in the sense that it grows adjacent to rivers and streams, really deeply shaded forests, really dense covered forests that even in the driest times throughout the year tend to hold in that humidity. They really like 85–90% humidity. For Phalaenopsis species, that's something else. And if you look at in situ pictures of these plants, you often see them. They grow on trees with really, really, really rough bark, and they're often bare rooted. They're just clung on. They get heavy rainfall for a portion of the year, but in the winter months they do require a dry rest. They don't go completely dormant like a catasetum or something like that, but they do go pretty darn dry throughout the winter. So I wanted to get rid of this old funky moss. It's not mine. I do not like that. I'm going to get it on a mount. Actually, I'll show you. I custom picked this mount just for this plant because it's got a lot of texture. This plant's going to fit really nicely on it, at least for now. It's going to sit just like that, and it's going to attach, and I'm going to put barely, if any, moss at all. This thing actually holds some water, so I have a feeling I'll just be able to water this every day when it's warm, maybe twice a day if I have to, and through the winter months I'm going to be able to control exactly how much moisture this plant has via the humidity in my air, because that's exactly what it wants. So that is Phalaenopsis Mani Eye, and it is going to go on this mount with lots of texture, lots of good places for it, and try to mimic its native environment. Alrighty, next up we have our Orientocephalus. This plant is radically different than our Phalaenopsis friend that we just unmounted, but for intents and purposes of making this talk effective and showing you guys just how easy it is to do all this, we literally are going to treat this the exact same way. We're pulling off the fishing line. If I can find the other end, looks like they stapled it. Alright, we're going to pull off our fishing line. We're going to give it a little bit of water on the roots that are attached real well. Again, not everybody likes to do it this way, but this is my preferred way. We're going to take our blade that we just dipped in alcohol and let dry, and we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to pop up under the roots, especially the ones that are going over that edge, and we're going to slowly and gently try to coax them off. I know I'm blocking all of this. Slowly and gently try to coax them off. So this plant's a little tiny. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this all on camera, but you get the point. This is exactly the same method, just a little bit more careful, because these roots are absolutely tiny. See that, guys? It does make it a lot easier. I do recommend that you try it. I'm not pushing hard. I'm not doing anything that's going to result in me slipping, cutting myself, or doing anything foolish. I'm being extremely gentle because I don't want to cut the roots either. But this blade method, I'm telling you guys, if you've never tried it, it makes life a lot easier, and it makes things a lot less scary, especially when you're playing around with these miniature orchids, because some of these things, they are very much, they can be very intimidating to work on. So even going in blind, I can't really see what I'm doing behind this plant, but I know that my blade is flat against this, and all I'm doing is gently sliding it and popping this orchid free. See, guys? Super, super easy, even on the smallest and most delicate of roots. Last but not least, we've got our Dendrobium Canaltum. This plant has grown quite a bit. It's put on 3 or 4 new growths since I've got it a little over a year ago, and I'm very excited to try to get this plant to bloom. I've got a better understanding now of how it grows. I grew it way too moist the first year. I killed a lot of these roots by accident the first winter. I killed a growth. It had another direction of growth this way that I got watered down in, and it promptly died and failed, and I have not repeated that mistake. So I've grown this a lot drier. It has a really pronounced moist dry cycle when it is in growth. It does get watered every day or every other day, but I definitely let it get bone dry in between waterings. So having that said, it's going to go on a mount pretty much bare rooted. It might have just a little bit of moss here and there, but I want to give it a nice textured mount like this. That way it's got nooks and crannies that are going to stay moist for long but still dry out very quickly. And this is going to be the fun one, so everybody get ready. A lot of these roots are dead, so it's going to be quite easy to get this thing off of here, I do feel, but I'm going to start the exact same way. Excuse me. We are going to give this one a nice spray. Same method applies. We are going to run a razor blade right down the back of this thing. Don't cringe, all those roots are dead. This one, I'm going to do relatively the same way, but I know that a lot of these are dead, so we're just going to be a little bit more rough and figure out which ones can be sacrificed and which ones need to stay. See, all those I believe are dead. So I think that's a live root right there. We're going to want to try to salvage that. And a couple of these down near the base here as well. So I'm going to start to get up close to the base of this plant in the back and just start prying with these dead roots. Now it is attached up here pretty well. So that's the area that we're going to do our little blade trick with. We're going to come up under these roots here, try to pop them free. They've grown in under this bark here. So let's just see if that helped out. Yep, that's this whole side free. And then we're just going to see if we can gently lift this plant off. The back side's coming really nice. This front area is well attached. And again, I think it's just where roots have grown underneath this bark. So I'm just going to cut those free. And that is Dendrobium Canaltum off of the stick. I'm going to get this thing cleaned up and we will take a look at the orchids once they go back onto their new mounts, and I will show you what we've done. So we are back. I am all done. This is our 6 freshly mounted orchids. We have our Dendrobium Canaltum, we have our Dendrobium Sennelier, we have our Dendrobium Minemar species, our Orientocephalus Eye, our Orchids Colorado, and our Phalaenopsis Mani Eye. All looking fresh and ready to go into the tent. So that's my video for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed, I hope you learned something, and I will see you guys on the next one. Please continue to stay safe, and as always, happy growing. See ya.